us to have the conversation this morning is Emakhiome. He's an economist and the CEO, Coinbox Limited. Good morning, Emakhiome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you for having me. Can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you. Thank you so much.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, Lagos.
Good morning.
Good morning. It's our delight to have you. So we're talking about how the currency devaluation has affected hardship and fueled hardship across Nigeria. And the first thing we would like to understand in this conversation with you this morning, we'd like to put it this way. What underlying economic conditions led to the Naira's devaluation, and how do these conditions relate to global financial trends?
Underlying conditions that led to devaluation. I will start with what devaluation is, first of all. Devaluation is simply a deliberate reduction in the value of the currency, okay? And usually countries engage in it as a strategic step. The most common reason they do this is for balance of trade advantage. So the essence of devaluation usually is to encourage local purchase, okay, so that people would buy locally made items more than the imported alternative, especially when the level of import is now far higher than the level of export, which is a Nigerian situation. But over time, it's found out that some countries are forced to devalue and not just doing it out of strategic intent. So some countries make sure their currency is lower than the dollar, like Japan and China, so that because they are exporting countries. So as long as the value of their currency is low, a lot of people will find their products affordable. But a lot of African nations devalue out of necessity, not strategy. Okay, and Nigeria is not exempt from that. The devaluation, I would not say, yes, just like you said, is an underlying factor, but it's not the main reason for the hardship in the economy. It's actually a symptom of what is happening in the economy. What do I mean? Number one, Nigeria is an import-dependent economy. We import. It's now a cultural thing, no more.
Are you there?
Yes, I'm here. It's now a cultural thing, no more an economic reason that it is the imported item that is better than the locally made item. So because of that, we're importing so much, and CBN was, the government was forced to devalue such that they reduced the value of the currency, so that there'll be more exports than imports. But did this solve the problem? No. Why? Because devaluation is a symptom that there's a problem in the economy. And what's the problem in this case? One, the inflation rate, just like you mentioned, is astronomical and it keeps rising. Okay. Then we have the issue of labor. Do we have labor? Yes. Is the labor engaged? No. There are a lot of people, which we know too, the indices are there. The level of unemployment is astronomical. Okay. Then it's supposed to encourage devaluation. Would not have been necessary if there was industry, or it would have even been highly necessary if there was industry, depending on what strategy government is employing. But in this case, do we have industry? No. Many companies are shutting down every day. We know of the popular multinationals that have shut down and left the shores of this country. And so, based on that, the country is forced to constantly devalue. Even the exchange rates before this current devaluation did not have a proper reflection of the value of our currency, such that the difference between the official rates and the black market rates, or the parallel market rates of our currency, that's of our currency exchange rates, there was a wide gap, which led to all the round tripping and all the illegalities that some other groups, companies, and individuals carried out until last year when there was some form of normalization. And it's the normalization that has been ongoing since, which is why the value has been going to reflect the true value, because the forces of demand and supply has to balance somewhere. At that point, that's when you now know the actual value of the currency in reflection of the state of the economy in also now showing the exchange rates.
Okay, Ayo, let me come in. Let me come in here. Let me come in here. You know, earlier on in her introduction, Sarah said that the Naira has plummeted to a historic low, trading at approximately 1,740 Naira to the US dollar, representing a 230% loss in value over the past year. This is where I want you to focus on. The loss in value, a 230% loss in value. If you remember earlier on in the year, some students, Nigerian students in the UK, were asked to come back because they didn't have enough monies in the bank for their school fees due to the devaluation in Naira, of the Naira. What they had saved now became, it didn't match up eventually. So I want you to describe in expert terms, though, what this means, a 230% loss in value over the past year. So you could be a millionaire 2 years ago and you're no longer that today. That's what it means, right?
Yes, you're very correct. In my days of growing up, when you had #1,000,000 in your account, you were considered a millionaire by any standard. Okay? So, but today, you have #1,000,000 in your account, you are just a millionaire here in Nigeria. Out of the country, if you don't have 174 million Naira in your account, you are not a millionaire today. So even if you have 10 million or 100 million, you are still not yet a millionaire by international standard. Okay? So what am I saying? Devaluation has been forced on the economy because of the inflation rates and the various other economic indices that are that are depreciating the value of the currency. And what do I mean? The economy has been bleeding long before now, and government have been pretending that everything is okay. And they kept saying everything is fine while they were feeding fat, while we were suffering. But now, with the new government, they now decided, let us face reality. And how? The first thing is remove that false figures that are saying that the economy is good, where official rates will be like 500, 600, 700 Naira to $1, while the parallel market is telling you 1,740 Naira. So that was removed. Immediately it was removed. The market, so it hasn't been exactly a devaluation thing. The market has been balancing itself. So the CBN has no choice than to always adjust the rates in line with what the market is saying, which of course technically is devaluation, and has been happening. They've done it so many times so far in the last 1 year, but it's all market correction. So truly, one of the things that devaluation affects is savings, which is what you just mentioned now. Those students saved up a lot of money, which as at that time was okay based on the official exchange rates, but it was never okay. So when reality now hits, they had to come back because that wasn't the truth. So now everybody is no more, gone are those days that people will say the economy is bad and someone is saying, no, look at the official exchange rates. We are now faced with the reality. It is a thing that has long been coming. So now that it has happened, government has to face the reality of addressing the key indices, because this devaluation that was forced on government was forced on them because of the key economic indices that are failing, not devaluation. They had no choice than to devalue. So now that the currency is being reflected in the true value it is, government is now forced to face the true realities of things, which is one, addressing key issues like inflation, GDP, unemployment, because it's those things that will now stabilize the rate. Because the issue is not even the devaluation per se. The issue is that, okay, I have saved up $1,000. My school fees is $800, so I have more than enough. Then in 2 weeks' time, currency goes up to
Yeah.
$2,000. My $200 extra now comes to making my money I saved to $600. So I can't go to school or do anything anymore. But if I know that between now and the next 10 years, $2,000 is the exchange rate and it will remain like that because the economy is stable, then government is addressing the key issues and I can go to school abroad if I want to.
All right.
Also,
Okay.
if the currency is stable, companies can start. I mean, industry, that's manufacturing outfits, can now start their business and plan and succeed and survive. But now they are all dying, which
Okay.
has to be addressed.
All right. So,
If I know the economy, okay,
let me just interrupt you for a bit so we can, take on a lot of questions because of our time. Is there a way that
it's okay.
diversifying Nigeria's economy away from oil exports, can help to stabilize the Naira in the long term? If yes, what are these ways?
What you're asking now is what is already ongoing. The economy is actually virtually diversified. When you check the numbers, oil and gas, that's diversification now is in line of contribution to GDP. Okay. And oil and gas, which used to be a 90% contributor to the GDP, is now somewhere around 40% or so, which means is non-oil factors that are contributing 60% to the GDP. The only challenge now is that our exports is very low. It is still oil and gas that is producing 90% of our FX, while 10% is being done by the same industries that are contributing 60% to the GDP. So what can we do? One, government has to further encourage exports and then encourage industry. Because the truth is, most of what we do is still dependent on foreign exchange, that's foreign currency. But if we have industries that are producing all these things we export at the standard, because that has also been an issue. I've always told people, the day we solve our problems, the day we define what is the Nigerian standard, we don't have a Nigerian standard. And so we go to where there are standards. Because like now, let's look at car manufacturing, for example. We have made the Nigerian cars, but there is nobody saying this is the standard of the cars abroad and this is the standard of the Nigerian car. So they match. So as nobody is saying that, nobody's interested in buying the Nigerian car. Even the government, yes, they are taking some baby steps, but they need to do more to make people realize the Nigerian car is of international standard and we can use it. So we need to address trade. We need to address the issue with exports. Because when we export more, we have more foreign currency and the demand, with that one, you can withstand the pressures of demand. But right now, we don't have enough foreign currency in the economy. And so with that, the pressure of demand is increasing the exchange rates. This is the last quarter of the year. This is when a lot of people come back home. And when they come back home, there's more pressure on, there's more demand for foreign currency because they need to change the currencies they brought in. They need to exchange it for the Naira. We don't have enough Naira to meet up to that in reality now. Not physical cash, but in terms of transactions. So in line with that, the exchange rate will go up. That is, the dollar is still stronger and will still keep getting stronger. So the best way to address is to address the key economic indices. That's just it.
So would you say this administration is actually doing that? My question is Hydra-headed. First one, would you say that this administration is actually doing what you just suggested?
Yes, they are doing it with a lot of baby steps. They are saying we should be patient with them, but we need them to start taking adult steps, not baby steps, because the situation too is a quicksand situation. They need to act with emergency, else the economy will, the person in the quicksand will die. But right now, they are still saying, you know what, we need to walk about 5 kilometers to get rope, we'll negotiate the price, then come back and see how we can pull you out of the quicksand. By the time you come back,
the person is
will be
gone.
under
Yes, that's the thing.
So that's the challenge.
That's a challenge, and it's a big one.
They need to treat it as an emergency. look for, okay, what do we have around? There are sticks around. Use them to pull the person out.
Yeah.
But they are still saying this is how it should be done and not addressing the key issues as an emergency.
Right.
I like
So
that.
that's just this.
I like that you said that. Before Sarah wraps it up, though, I have this quick question. Not too long ago, the World Bank had said that Nigerians should please not reverse the economic reforms of this administration, that this administration is towing the right path. Now, you seem to say that this administration, too, is doing well because...
In baby steps.
Yeah, in baby steps. So would you say what the World Bank said is true? And would you say this administration is towing the right path?
For both, yes.
Aha.
They are towing the right path, but they need to do it, one, with a sense of urgency, two, over a larger economic indices, not just few, because they are, so far, they are being selective. They just pick one, they deal with it, they move on, and then they pick another. But this is an economy, so you can't deal with only one thing at a time. You have to do it in a form of holistic solution. And so that's why it seems as if they are not working. They really are working, but they are taking baby steps, and they are doing it, pick and how do I explain? Just cherry picking, which doesn't solve the problem.
It doesn't.
At all. So maybe we need to go into giant steps right now. But it's been a delight, We have to wrap up the conversation with you this morning. Thank you so much for joining us, Emakhiome, and for sharing your thoughts with us.
Thank you for having me. And welcome on board.
Well,
that's Sarah, your
okay.
partner for today. Yes. Welcome on board.
He knows our language, yeah?
Right.
Ion knows how we do it in-house.
Right.
He's a good person.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, that was an insightful
Have a wonderful day.
And you too, we wish you the very same. We just had a conversation with Emakhiome, an economist and CEO, Coinbox Limited.